What is going on, Jeromes? It is a beautiful Monday morning because it is the final morning before the 2023 NFL Draft gets underway on Thursday, and we're wrapping up mock draft season. Even though I love it, it can go on for a long time. And ESPN's Matt Miller, who's phenomenal. He does great work in the draft process, formerly a Bleacher Report. Now with ESPN did up his 7-round mock draft, and the Vikings, they got some nice. So, not going to spoil all the picks, but 5 quarterbacks go in the first round. The big 4 go in the top 11. And the Vikings end up with Hendon Hooker, the pride of Tennessee, at 23 overall. Yes, blah, 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 ACL. Yes, blah, 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 age. All that stuff. Yes, blah, 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 college offense. But I think Hooker does have the arm and intangibles, and also has decent mobility where he could be a dude. He could be a legit dude in this league. And this is what Miller wrote. Vikings 23, Hendon Hooker. One of the most popular texts I've gotten from evaluators throughout the past 10 days has been some form of watch the Vikings for Hendon Hooker. That could be NFL scouts connecting dots, but the round 1 talk for Hooker has been red hot since the combine, and the Vikings do make sense for the dynamic passer. With Kirk Cousins set to hit free agency following the 2023 season at age 35, finding his replacement should be a priority. Hooker will need to adjust to the spacing of the NFL after playing in the tempo spread at Tennessee, but he's accurate and mobile, and he throws a beauty of a deep ball. As for Hooker's ceiling, one of NFL quarterbacks coach I spoke to said he believes he'd be a top 15 starter. Look at Jared Goff, Geno Smith, Cousins. He has better all-around tools than those guys. Ooh, the right system will help, but from a talent perspective, he can be a top half of the league guy, which would be fantastic. Because I do wonder, like, if he didn't have the ACL and if he was the same age as Will Levis, would he be seen as a better prospect? I think he would, just on the field. But the drawbacks of Hooker, of course, are the age as well as the injury. But injury should be fine. Age, he can't do anything about. And yeah, the whole thing is like, well, if he's a starter for 10 years, he'll be 36. Yeah, if you can find a starter in the draft at the back end of the first round for 10 years, I mean, there's worse problems to have. It's a pretty damn good problem to have, man. And Doogie, a couple weeks ago, did point out that the Vikings do have the book on Hendon Hooker. Now, he sort of walked back some of that Hooker steam a little bit recently, but is what it is. It is prime BS season, and with Miller, Miller's sources are nationwide. Doogie's is more regional. So take that as your words. Maybe it is like the local. Maybe it is the Vikings just feeding Doogie. It's like, hey, we're in on him. Nah, just kidding. We'll see if he falls. Or Matt Miller just talking to national scouts. Like you said, maybe they're just connecting the dots. Maybe it's legit steam. Maybe it's a combination of both. Who really knows? And yes, Hendon Hooker did turn 25 in January. He will be 26 if and when he takes over in 2024. 6'4", 218. And he does throw a phenomenal deep ball, man. He does. And the problem with he comes from a college offense. A lot of quarterbacks do. They really do. And it's like, well, he doesn't scan the full field. Well, I mean, if his first read is always open, why would he pass up an open Jalen Hyatt? Why would he pass up an open Cedric Tillman to go to his third, fourth read? Doesn't really make sense, man. But great leadership, great intangibles. The fact that he, after he tore his ACL, was on the sidelines still coaching up his team, hyping them up. The fact that he went to the combine, even though he wasn't doing drills, just to be part of the experience, that says a lot. It really does. And reportedly he's doing extremely well in interviews, and I do like him. Like, if you don't go up and gamble in the Big Four and Hooker's just there at 23, I mean, there's certainly worse options. Plus, the whole thing of, well, if you take a first-round quarterback, you can't take one next year. Yes, you can. Absolutely can. Where, hey, if Hendon Hooker gets a very good look from Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips and O'Hara and Kwesi this year, and they determine that he's not the guy, they can certainly go fish. Or he could establish that he is the guy ready to take over the reins in 2024. It's possible. And then blazing through the rest of the Vikings picks. So we got Hendon Hooker at 23. 87 in the third round. This one raised a bit of an eyebrow. So Cameron Mitchell, the Pride Northwestern, he's 5'11", $191. He's going to be a slot cornerback in the league now. He is feisty, but I don't know, a lot of evaluators see him more as a day 3 guy. So the fact that you're getting him with your only day 2 pick, and there was a lot of other noteworthy cornerbacks on the board, I don't know. And Miller did mention something about the Vikings get a slot cornerback. Well, he got Byron Murphy. So unless the plan is to keep Murphy on the sideline or on the boundary, I don't know. I don't really get that one. 4th round, 119. Wide receiver Xavier Hutchinson coming out of Iowa State. Now, he's interesting where he may be flying under the radar a bit, but also I think that he's a good player who improved every year, but his ceiling might be capped. Now, he's 6'2", 203, 107 catches, 1,171 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns last year after he finally got away from Brock Purdy and got himself a real quarterback. But not a burner, more of a contested catch and possession type player. Don't want to say Treadwell, but his game is Treadwell adjacent, and that's what he brings in from Ames. 5th round, 158 nose tackle Cameron Young out of Mississippi State. One of my favorite players. Where I want the Vikings to get a true blue nose tackle, and Cameron Young is that. Where he's 6'3", 304, and he's not going to bring much to the table in terms of pass rush, but in terms of being a 2-down, 2-gap, multiple body absorber, who's going to do the dirty work and keep your linebackers clean. That's exactly what he's going to do. Plus, having Cameron Young on the nose would allow Harrison Phillips to play 5-tech more, or move him along the offensive line on early downs, which does make sense, man. And lastly, 6th round, 211 edge rusher Viliami Fayeko coming out of San Jose State. Quase's got to thank for the Spartans, because remember Josh Oliver went to San Jose State too. But 6'4", 276, 22 sacks over 3 seasons. He's a cousin of Vita Vea. Very raw, but more of a power rusher. Does need to add a little bit more tools to his game, but he could potentially be another solid 5-tech in waiting. I like the attitude that he brings. Plays with some ferocity as well. So I think overall, I mean, outside of Hendon Hooker, this is not like a sexy draft, but you do have some solid meat and potatoes type players where Cameron Young and Fayoko in the 5th, 6th rounds I really respect. Hutchinson, I mean, can he progress into a wide receiver 2? Maybe. I could have potentially gone in a different direction in the 4th round. Mitchell is really the only question mark, where I like him. I don't necessarily think that he's a 3rd round pick, though. But we'll see what happens. Also, there's some really damn sexy offensive linemen left on the board in the 3rd and 4th round, but it sort of is what it is. But that is it. That's taking a look at Matt Miller, ESPN's latest mock draft 7-rounder. Hendon Hooker, come on down. You're the next Minnesota Fighting Viking. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts and his thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Once more the work. Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.